Have you ever wondered why your dog insists on following you even to the bathroom? Most people assume it's just curiosity or a clingy habit. But the truth goes much deeper than that. In the wild, animals are at their most vulnerable when they're unable to fully protect themselves. That's why members of a pack often take turns keeping watch for one another. So when your dog sits outside the bathroom door or tries to come in with you, they're not invading your privacy. They're doing what their ancestors have done for thousands of years, looking out for a member of their pack. And what scientists discovered next is even more remarkable. Dogs can often tell you're about to get up before you've made a single move. Stay until the end of the video to find out how they do it. Have you ever noticed your dog getting up before you've even left your chair? You haven't said a word. You haven't taken a step. Sometimes all you've done is shift your position slightly, let out a sigh or glance towards the door, yet somehow your dog has already lifted its head and is ready to follow. Many people assume it's just a simple reflex, but science suggests that dogs are among the most skilled body language readers on the planet. After spending months and often years living alongside you, they quietly learn to recognize even the smallest patterns in your behavior. A glance towards the kitchen might signal mealtime. A slight change in the way you walk could mean you're about to leave the house. To your dog, you're not just a person. You're the center of the environment they rely on every day. Because they can't simply ask what you're about to do, they learn to predict your actions through the tiniest signals your body gives away. In a sense, your dog is quietly studying you every single day. Not out of curiosity, but because understanding you helps them feel safer in a world filled with things they cannot control. But perhaps the most surprising discovery is this: dogs don't just read your movements, they also use your presence to help calm their own nervous system. Pay close attention to this. When you move to another room, your dog will often quietly follow. But once they arrive, they don't ask to play, beg for food, or demand attention. They simply lie down and go to sleep. If this were a sign of dependency or anxiety, they would be pacing, whining, or struggling to relax. But most dogs don't do that. They simply want to be near you. Researchers refer to this as emotional co-regulation. It's a mechanism used by many mammals to regulate their heart rate, breathing, and stress levels through the presence of someone they trust. Humans experience this with parents, partners, and loved ones. For dogs, that trusted individual is you. When they're close to you, their bodies begin to relax, their breathing slows, stress levels drop, their nervous system shifts from a state of alertness to a state of safety. That's why dogs often follow you from the living room to the kitchen, from the bedroom to your home office. It's not because the room itself is interesting, it's because your presence is what makes them feel most at peace. But what makes this even more remarkable is that dogs don't just rely on you to feel safe. They also use you to make sense of everything happening around them. Imagine living in a place where you don't understand the language, can't read the signs, and constantly hear strange noises coming from outside. That's essentially how your dog experiences the world every day. A sound at the front door, a stranger walking past, a car suddenly starting up. To your dog, any of these could potentially signal danger. So how do dogs know when they should be concerned and when there's nothing to worry about? The answer is simple: they look to you. You've probably seen this happen without thinking much of it. Whenever an unfamiliar noise appears, many dogs will glance at their owner first. They're not just watching the situation itself, they're watching your reaction. If you calmly walk over to the window, your dog remains calm. If you show no signs of concern, their nervous system receives the message that everything is all right. In a way, you become your dog's interpreter for the world. You help them understand what is safe and what isn't something to fear. If you've ever noticed your dog looking at you whenever they hear an unusual sound, leave a comment below. And what comes next goes even deeper than that. The instinct that drives dogs to keep you within sight existed long before humans and dogs ever became companions. Today, dogs live in warm homes, sleep in comfortable beds, and rarely have to worry about where their next meal is coming from. Yet deep inside, part of their brain still remembers the survival rules of their ancestors. In the wild, becoming separated from the pack was one of the most dangerous situations imaginable. A lone wolf had a harder time finding food, was more vulnerable to attack, and stood a much lower chance of survival. As a result, dogs evolved to maintain a strong connection with the most important members of their group. That's why your dog may get up and follow you, even when you're simply walking from the living room to the kitchen. To you, it's only a few meters, but to an ancient survival instinct, losing sight of a key member of the pack is no small matter. Your dog isn't thinking, they're just going to get a glass of water. They're simply making sure the group is still together. Perhaps that's why so many dogs choose to rest in places where they can keep an eye on you even when they don't want food, attention, or anything else from you. Because in the silent language of dogs, one message has always remained the same: together means safe. But what makes this even more remarkable is that there is an invisible force, even stronger than pack instinct, that draws dogs towards the people they love. Imagine walking from the living room to the kitchen. To you, it's just a few steps. But to your dog, you've just taken with you the thing that makes them feel safest in the world: your scent. Humans rely primarily on sight to understand the world. Dogs, on the other hand, experience life largely through their sense of smell. Every time you walk through a room, sit on the sofa, or lie down on your bed, you leave behind an invisible trail that only your dog can truly detect. And among all the scents that exist within your home, yours is the most familiar and meaningful of all. It's more than just your smell. It's comfort, it's stability, it's reassurance that everything is as it should be. So when you move, that sense of safety moves with you. Dogs don't consciously think about this. They simply follow the scent that brings them the greatest feeling of comfort and security. Perhaps that's why so many dogs enjoy lying on their owner's clothes or settling down in a spot where their owner was sitting only moments before. To them, your scent is like an invisible embrace that never fully disappears. But what happens if one day a dog that has always followed you suddenly stops doing so? If your dog has always followed you everywhere, then suddenly stops one day, don't assume it's just a random change. Dogs are creatures of habit. When a behavior that has been repeated for months or even years suddenly disappears, there's usually a reason behind it. Sometimes it can be a sign of pain or illness. Many older dogs will distance themselves from the people they love when they're not feeling well, not because they care any less, but because instinct encourages them to hide their vulnerability. But the opposite can happen too. A dog that has always been independent may suddenly become unusually attached. They follow you from room to room and seem reluctant to let you out of their sight, even for a few minutes. This can sometimes be a sign of anxiety, stress, or a change in their environment that they're still struggling to adjust to. The important thing is to pay attention, because every change in behavior is a message your dog is trying to communicate. If your dog has ever gone through a period where they suddenly became more clingy or, on the other hand, more distant, leave a comment as shown below. And when we put all of these discoveries together, we begin to uncover a deeply emotional truth about why dogs always want to be close to us. Perhaps all this time you've assumed that your dog follows you everywhere simply because they're overly attached to you. But after everything science has uncovered, the truth is far more meaningful. They follow you into the bathroom because they want to protect you. They watch your smallest movements because they want to understand you. They seek you out when they're stressed because your presence makes them feel safe. They look to your reactions to decide whether the world around them is something to fear. They keep you within sight because an ancient pack instinct has been woven into their DNA for thousands of years. And they follow your scent because it is one of the most familiar and comforting things they have ever known. What this means is that your dog doesn't just love you, they have built their sense of safety, their trust, and their entire world around your presence. So the next time you notice a small shadow quietly following you from one room to another, remember that it isn't a nuisance. It's one of the greatest compliments a dog can give a human being. If this video helped you understand your dog a little better, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it so that other dog owners can discover the quiet love their four-legged companions show them every single day. Thank you for watching all the way to the end.